Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing an unboxing and first look of the Ramper Mexican-made boxing gloves. So stay tuned. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here. Today I'm doing an unboxing and first look of the Ramper Mexican-made boxing gloves. I got mine in the white and gold colorway. I believe they're 14-ounce lace-ups. These retail for 1,250 Mexican pesos, which is about 64 US dollars once you convert it over. So let's go ahead and get this box open and take a look. I'm really excited to see these gloves for the first time. You know, Ramper's been a brand that's been on my radar for quite some time now, and finally got a chance to get a pair of these. One thing I did want to mention is I want to give a big shout out to my good friend Louis. Louis actually lives in Mexico, and when I initially looked at getting these gloves, Ramper does have social media. They have their Instagram. They also have their website. So I inquired about getting the gloves, and you can shoot them a DM on Instagram, but they prefer to communicate through WhatsApp, and they do speak in Spanish, so there is going to be a language barrier if you're not proficient in Spanish. So do keep that in mind if you're looking to purchase these gloves. So I initially had reached out to them to ask them, hey, do you guys ship to the United States? And kind of go over the colorway, the size, and the model that I wanted to get based on what I saw on their website. And communication was going pretty well on WhatsApp, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then they give you some options to make payments. And it's a little bit kind of confusing on how they want to go about paying for the gloves. And I don't doubt the legitimacy of it. I think it's completely fine, but there's definitely kind of a language barrier as well as kind of a barrier on trying to figure out the best way to make payment for the gloves just because they're in a different country. So fortunately for me, I actually reached out to Louis. I don't know if you guys saw a review I did on a pair of Mexican gloves, the El Primer Asalto gloves, a little while back, and those were gloves that Louis gave to me to do a review on, to try and use them, and they were solid gloves. So I reached out to him. I said, hey, you know, I know that you live in Mexico. Is this something that you can possibly get your hands on, these Ramper gloves? And he's like, yeah, no problem, super nice. And I was very fortunate that he was able to get these gloves. So I just basically going to pay him for the gloves, and he was able to get these gloves, and then he got them, and then he shipped them to me. So I got these via DHL. If you were to buy it directly from Ramper, I'm assuming they'd probably ship it Aramex or DHL, one of the international carriers, maybe FedEx. So I was really stoked about this. It took about maybe 3 to 4 days for me to receive these gloves from Mexico, so it was pretty quick. So again, big shout out to Louis. Thanks for getting me these gloves. Super excited to try these out. So let's go ahead and get this box open. Kind of folds open, and there you have it. So pull these gloves out and put the box to the side. It just has a little bit of plastic wrap. Take it out of the plastic, and here is the right glove. And yep, white and gold. Yeah, they look really nice. You have these white laces. Kind of rotate it around so you can see the glove. So here's the right glove, and here is the left. Undo the laces as well. So there you have it. Again, beautiful looking glove. These are handmade in Mexico, full genuine leather construction. You know, in terms of the shape of the glove for a 14-ounce glove, I'd say that these are probably comparable to like Reyes in terms of the overall profile and size. They're not an overly huge glove. They're not super compact. I believe, yeah, these are 14. There is a label down here at the bottom that says 14 ounces with the R. I'm assuming for Ramper. The white on here and leather, I'd say it has a satin finish to the leather itself. You do have the Ramper logo with their crown and more of a matte black. So you have two R's kind of facing each other, one going one way and one facing it. You do have a split thumb, or should I say segmented thumb, which is kind of unique. I don't think I've had a glove where the thumb was stitched this far back. There's usually a seam that comes down right around here. So you can see Ramper has kind of a cool, unique design. I like that. I think it looks different. It looks pretty good. I think it flows well with the shape of the glove, but you can see how it kind of stitches over here. It does say made in Mexico across in white font, and then you have the gold thumb. The gold on here isn't very shiny. It's more of like just a satin gold. It's not, in my opinion, I don't think this is a metallic gold. And you do have another matte R logo right there on the thumb. The back of the wrist is a double single segmented wrist. So you don't have triple, you have just two pieces. You have a larger piece of padding up top and a slightly smaller one right down below it that goes across horizontally. You also have the Ramper patch. It says Ramper, made in Mexico. So para los puños de los campeones. And you have that written down there, and that's all black. It's cloth and in gold. Has a little bit of metallic right there. I'd say the back of the wrist support, you're looking at maybe 1.5 inches of medium density padding on the back of the wrist. And like a lot of other Mexican gloves, they definitely put a big emphasis on padding on your wrist. So once you tie and you lace up your gloves, your hand and your wrist feels really locked in. The inside liner appears to be kind of a smooth, silky satin liner on the inside. So that looks really good. The laces on here are flat laces with plastic tips. I do like the quality of the laces. They don't feel like those cheap cotton laces that feel kind of like an afterthought. These actually feel really nice. It has kind of like a almost like a polyester blend feel to it. So I definitely like the fact that they went with a nice premium lace rather than a cheaper cotton lace. Now coming to the palm side, or the wrist, inside of the wrist, you have about 1 inch of medium density foam on both sides. On the outer edge, it's in gold, and it says Ramper vertically written across, again with that matte material. And the gold again is not really a metallic, just more of a satin gold. White piping on the base of the thumb, and you do have ventilated holes both on the inside of the thumb as well as below and above the grip bar right there. The grip bar is nice and firm. I'd say it's medium in size, but it does have a nice firmness to it. It doesn't feel like it's super soft to where you can just push right into the bar. And lastly, you do also have a leather white attached thumb. I believe that the padding on here is going to be a latex foam padding. This is a training glove. I'd say the consistency on here is definitely on the softer side in terms of the density of this latex foam padding. I don't believe that this glove is horsehair. I'll have to go back on the website to verify, but I believe that this is just a latex foam training glove. So overall, I think it's a really sweet looking glove. And to be honest, I don't think there's really anything out there in the market that really, from a design aesthetic standpoint, really looks like these gloves. So I think Ramper has done a really nice job of kind of giving themselves their own look, right? Where you have, excuse me, they didn't really go with the traditional design of, okay, let me do half the palm in one color and half the other, and then let me split the thumb down here, and then you have the seam on the same spot. I definitely like the fact that they went with kind of their own unique look, where they just kept that outside pad in gold on the inside of the wrist support, and then you have the gold thumb, but then they stitched it a little bit further back. And the reason I like this is that you get more of that gold color, or whatever colorway you decide to go with, but whatever your color, your thumb is gonna be on the gloves you decide to get if you get these gloves, is that it kind of gives you more contrast when you're looking directly at the glove from this angle right here. Whereas if the stitching was a little bit further out here, you can still see the color of the thumb, but it's not as pronounced. The fact that they pulled it in a little bit further in terms of the stitching, so allowing more of that thumb color or that leather to peek over onto the back, I think looks really sharp. So big shout out to them for doing that. I think that looks really awesome. So let's go ahead and put my hands into the gloves, see how they feel. That's the right glove. Let's check out the left. Get a little bit of dirt off the table. And initial thoughts. Okay, so that liner feels awesome. I would say that the liner on here is comparable to the type of liner that you would find in the Taurus Medina gloves. It has a very smooth, silky feel to it. which I like. It has a nice silky premium feel on the inside liner. The wrist support feels really good. The depth of the finger compartment is really nice deep finger pocket. You can definitely feel the grip bar. And there's also a secondary piece of foam padding right here in the finger compartment that covers the stitching that kind of acts like a little memory pad for your fingertips to really grip onto. I'd say that the width is good. It's not too wide, not too narrow for a 14-ounce glove. Keep in mind they do offer these in 16 and 18 ounces. So if you have larger hands, bigger fingers or whatnot, then I would venture to say that those the 16 and the 18-ounce gloves would probably be a really solid fit for you. But that feels really good, and I say it's pretty well broken in. Like when you can open and close your hand relatively easy. And I mean, I literally just took these gloves right out of the box. So in terms of that broken in feel, that feels really good. Now, the area that I'm a little skeptical on is the thumb. The thumb does feel slightly awkward on both hands. I'd say more on my left. I don't know what it is with my left hand, but for whatever reason, my left hand always feels a little bit more uncomfortable than my right. Maybe it's just me, my personal issue. But the thumb does have kind of a flared out feel to it. And you may not be able to capture it from the exterior of the thumb, but I definitely feel like my thumb kind of flares out a little bit. And then the piping at the base of the thumb right here, take this glove off so I can point it out to you guys, is definitely a little bit on the tighter side. So I can foresee this being kind of a pressure point in terms of like cutting off the circulation on the fat part of your thumb. So I'm gonna have to definitely break that in. I might end up, just depending on how I feel the first couple times I train with this glove, I might stuff like a sock or a shirt in there to kind of like stretch it out a little bit. But that's my first impression of how this glove feels when I put my hand into the glove. Everything else about the glove feels great. Liner feels really good. You know, if I can lace this up nicely. And one thing you'll notice with these polyester laces that are kind of a blend, fabric blend, is that they lace up nice and smooth. And they have a little bit of a stretch to them. So it's not like when you taut up the laces, it doesn't feel like you're using twine basically to lace up your gloves. These have a much more premium feel, but with this all cinched up, that feels really good. The whole wrist feels nice and supportive, and it feels really locked in, so I definitely like that. So in terms of like the actual proportions and the overall, I wouldn't say anatomy of the glove, but I guess you can say just how it's supposed to fit. I think they've done a really solid job, a really good job. I'd say just the thumb is kind of the area where you feel a little bit of awkwardness. And again, that's kind of a reoccurring theme with Mexican gloves, right? Over the years, not only with just kind of awkward, weird thumb positions, but also being overweight. Obviously, I don't have my scale on me right now, but once I do the review on these gloves, I'll put them on the scale. Another thing, looking at the quality of the gloves, now that I've just kind of had them in front of me, there's some areas where you can definitely tell the stitching could have been done sharper for sure. You'll notice on here, on the palm side, just kind of right around the piping on the left glove, it's a single stitch pattern, but it's could be done cleaner. But it's definitely closer on the left glove in terms of this single stitch is closer to this inside piping, or on the right glove, it's a much wider pattern than the left. So it's almost like when they're putting the leather through and they're stitching it with the machine. To me, those are like the little details that you would expect really from premium brands, where I know it serves the purpose of doing the same thing, right? It holds the glove together and everything's being stitched together, but it's just the symmetry of the glove when you put them next to each other. Okay, what stands out between the two that looks different? So I'd say that between the two, I'd say the stitching, but everything else about the glove in terms of being symmetrical looks good. Like the shape of the glove, the height, the width, you know, the grip bar position, even the thumb position looks pretty much identical. And the logos as well look pretty good. I'd say the right glove logo is probably a little bit further, a little bit more centered, where the left glove is a little bit more towards the thumb. I mean, but you're really pulling strings in terms of like trying to look at that. You're looking at like maybe a centimeter. So not huge, but again, if we're being critical, But yeah, overall, man, I'm really excited to try these gloves out. I think they look awesome. They feel good, but my only main concern is going to be the thumb. You know, for the price that you pay, obviously factor in shipping, but these gloves are $64. So even if you paid $50 for shipping, for example, you're still at, you know, a $114 Mexican made glove, which is shipped to your door, assuming your shipping is like 50 bucks, which I think is still a great deal, all things considered. So it's crazy, you know, the price point that you can get these gloves at for a full genuine leather Mexican made glove. Once I start using these, you know, obviously I'll put a review together at the end and give you guys my final thoughts on these gloves, but looking forward to them, putting these to work. With this padding, I'm kind of interested to see how these feel, particularly on the heavy bag. My other concern is for sparring. This padding just feels really soft. So I don't know if this would be a glove that I would consider to be, you know, a really good sparring glove, at least for my sparring partner who's going to be getting hit by these. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how these feel. So if you guys have any questions or comments, you guys know what to do. Put them down below. I will put the link in the description box to Rampers, both their Instagram as well as their website, so you can check out what they have to offer. If you guys have any questions or comments, you guys know what to do, and I will see you guys later. Peace.